Hey everybody, and welcome back to another Kraken Packs video. I am your host, MrBevers. That's right, we're back with our first box of War of the Spark. Get hyped, everybody. Get super hyped. My LGS sold out of this product. Sold out of it. Already. It's only Friday. It's gone. That's it. I pre-ordered my case, so thankfully they had it for me. But, holy moly. Holy moly. They sold out of every box they had. All they had left was the box they had for prizing, and that was it. There's our team right there. Teferi, Liliana, Gideon. R.I.P. Chad. Oh man, I'm so hyped for this set. I played in the early access event on Arena, and I had a lot of fun. I didn't actually get to play in the pre-release really at all because the weekend that it was, I had a bunch of other things already going on, and I just didn't get a chance to get there to play. I should say I had something early Saturday morning that I had to get to in Niagara, and I was there all day doing an event basically for something else. And so I couldn't go to the midnight release on Friday because I had to be up early Saturday. And then Sunday I had to do all my recording for this week. So here I am, right? So right now, while I'm recording this, my pre-release is going on and I'm not there. Sunblade Angel as our first uncommon. Very nice, very nice. That card is standout in Limited right now. I mean, a 3/3 flying first strike vigilance lifelink for 6 is not super. I mean, like the power and toughness is not super great for 6 mana, but because it has all those abilities, it makes it a standout. So we got Bleeding Edge, and then we've got Bond of Flourishing, and then our rare. All right, starting off with a rare Planeswalker, Sorin, Vengeful Bloodlord. Now I'm assuming we're gonna see lots of rare Planeswalkers out of this box, mainly because, I mean, that's what the whole point of the set, right? So that's our rare, and then is it the guaranteed Planeswalker in the pack? Oh, I see. Okay, because we're guaranteed a Planeswalker and ours was a rare, that's what we get, right? Okay, that makes sense. And we got our zombie army token, and of course our land. Right. Because if you get okay, makes sense. Now, I have no idea, like, what the price range on these things is, because, like, it's still technically, pre-release. So I don't know if, like, the prices are going to be accurate or anything like that. I highly doubt they will be, but who knows. So it looks like Sorin is sitting in, like, the $3 range, so we'll put him in the middle, right? That seems fair. All right, we've got Vizier of the Scorpion. Again, another really cool card with all the amass that's out there. Also, not only that, it just gives your zombie tokens death touch. So not just your amass tokens, but any zombie tokens that get made. So like Liliana makes zombie tokens or things like that. Ugin's Conjurant. I heard that this card is bonkers because it's a spirit that costs X, and therefore you can use it for some combo to like wipe the board. Okay, so then here's our uncommon Planeswalker. So this is our guaranteed Planeswalker in the pack, right? So we get Ashiok, which is kind of cool. Can't complain about that. And then our rare is Tolsimir, Friend to Wolves. Not a bad little rare. Again, sees some pretty sweet play in Limited. Definitely a cool card in Limited because it makes a 3/3 that then fights. Oh my goodness. There's our first foil Planeswalker. Nice Davriel. And I don't know if that's supposed to be like that, but like it looks like, I don't know, like, is it, I guess it is supposed to be like that. So like the smoke from his hand is covering his name. So it's kind of looks like it almost looks like it's smudged it, but like I think it's on purpose. I want to say it's on purpose. Again, I haven't seen a copy of Davriel in person yet, so the only one I've seen so far is foil. So I can't tell. Goblin token and an island. I'm sure we'll see another copy of it before this box is over, so maybe I can at least take a look there and see if it's the same. All right. A Dread Milkin, which I think is a sweet card. It's a little 1/1 for 1 zombie cat with menace, but for 3 mana you can sack another creature and put 2 1/1 counters on it, so it becomes a 3/3, which is pretty awesome. Rubble Belt Rioters. Gleaming Overseer. And we got another rare planeswalker, which is Domri, Anarch of Bolas, which is a $2 little planeswalker, so we'll put him there. And of course, we got our 2/2 Vigilant Soldier token, and of course, a mountain. Mountain. All right. Paradise Druid. Neoform. There's our uncommon planeswalker, Samut. So we didn't get a rare planeswalker. That's okay. This one was an interesting one for me, and I commented on this in the early access event. So Samut is on the battlefield, right? And it gives your creatures you control have haste. But then its ability is target creature gets +2/+1 and gains haste until end of turn, scry 1. The only reason that the haste matters in that ability is if it's the last time you're ticking Samut down. If you are removing the last loyalty from Samut, your creatures will no longer have haste, so you can give a creature haste. But other than that, the haste just doesn't matter at any other point because your creatures have haste from Samut. So it's kind of interesting. It's an interesting thing. I don't know if it was like planned specifically. And then we've got a plane-wide celebration. Celebration times, come on. Oh, no, that's not how that goes. I'm sorry. I'm going to get demonetized now, right? We got a zombie warrior, a 4/4 zombie warrior, which is the ones I think Oketra makes. And then I've got a plains token. Gotta be careful, The algorithm's gonna just murder us now, right? Cyclops Electromancer. God Pharaoh's Statue. Teo the Shield Mage. And Ravnica at War. Which looks like it goes in this pile over here. Exile all multicolored permanents. And we got our zombie army with only one. One sad zombie army. And of course, our swamp. For those of you who didn't notice, the zombie tokens do get progressively bigger. Like the art on them get progressively bigger. Bleeding Edge. Eternal Taskmaster, which is a broken card. Eternal Taskmaster is broken. If you haven't seen this card is really good. So it's a 2/3 for 2 that comes into play tapped, right? But it's a zombie, and then it says whenever it attacks, you can pay 3 mana, and if you do, return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. There's no limit on how much mana that creature costs. It just returns it. And then we got Nahiri, which is a sweet planeswalker for limited, because as long as it's your turn, your creatures have first strike, and then you can deal X damage to target tapped creature. And we got the Ender Spell, which is a nice $3 little rare there. This card is pretty sweet, too, because it lets you blow up all of those planeswalkers that are out there and put loyalty onto one of your planeswalkers instead. And we got a foil here, Leyline Prowler, which is actually a pretty cool card. I really like this one. It's a 2/3 for 3 with Death Touch and Lifelink, but it also adds a mana of any color, which is pretty awesome. See that? Look, there's our zombie token with only 2 dudes in the background. See, his buddies have come to check on him. They're not quite like an army yet. They're just kind of like a couple of dudes who are out on patrol, and they're like, is something going on over here? Do we need to get the rest of the guys? Jace's Triumph. Invade the city. Saheeli. Saheeli's fun too. Little 1/1 colorless servo token. And our rare, Living Twister. I saw this card do a lot of work for some people in the limited events on the arena. 2/5 for a red, and a green, but you can pay 1 and a red and discard a land, and it deals 2 damage, so it's a shock. shock to discard. You discard your lands to shock things, but you can also pay a green and return a tapped land you control to your hand so that you can then pitch it if you want, which is kind of cool. So there's again our zombie armies back to only one. Obviously they're just patrolling around and checking things out. You know, like, oh, nothing's going on over here. Okay, we don't need to be here. We'll move along. Right? That must be what's going on. Evolution Sage. This card is a kill on sight if you see it in limited. Because whenever you play a land, you proliferate, which is pretty bonkers, especially with all the planeswalkers in this set. So if you see this card drop on the table, you need to murder it pretty quickly. Otherwise, your opponent's planeswalkers will get quite big and be able to be used multiple times. Challenger Troll. And then we got Tybalt. Good old Tybalt. This card actually does work in limited right now. It stops the life gain from a number of sources. Specifically the Dreadhorde Invasion, which says if your amassed zombie army is 6 or more power, it gains lifelink when it attacks. So it's definitely a good one for that. And our rare here is Karn's Bastion, which is a nice $5 little land. Pay 1, or sorry, I should say, you can add a colorless mana, or you can pay 4 and tap it to proliferate, which is pretty nice. Oh, look, we got an Ugin Spirit token. That's pretty cool. Take that. I'll take that. I'm talking a lot about the cards. I hope you guys don't mind, more than just opening them to see what we get. Vizier of the Scorpion. Bond of Insight. Vraska, again, another sweet planeswalker. So a little 5 loyalty planeswalker that has -2 that makes a black 1/1 black assassin creature that says whenever this creature deals damage to a planeswalker, destroy that planeswalker. But also her ability says whenever a creature you control with Death Touch deals damage to a player or planeswalker, put a 1/1 counter on that creature. So pretty sweet. Ooh, Oath of Kaya. I love this card, and I want this card for my Super Friends deck because holy moly. So when it enters battlefield, it shoots something for 3 damage and you gain 3 life, which is pretty awesome. But then whenever they attack one of your planeswalkers, they take 2 damage and you gain 2 life. So it just drains them, which is pretty sweet. We got another foil here. We got a Lazotep Behemoth foil. And then, oh, look, there. The army's here now. They've shown up. They're like, oh, there is something going on over here. Oh, we should probably be over here. Hey, get everybody. Get all the guys. Dread Malkin again. Nissa's Triumph. Kaya, Bane of the Dead. So 7 loyalty for 6 mana, 3, and then white, black, white, black, white, black. And your opponents and permanents your opponents control with hexproof can be targets of spells and abilities you control as long as though they didn't have hexproof, and then you can -3 to exile target creature, which is pretty sweet. And then we've got Narset's Reversal, which is copy target instant or sorcery spell, then return it to its owner's hand. You may choose new targets for the copy. That's kind of cool. So you can like prevent their spell from going off. We got a little wizard token. Sweet. That's from Kazamina? Is that who the wizard tokens are from? I think that's who it's from. Kazmina? Yeah. Cyclops, Electromancer, Liliana's Triumph, Dovin, Hand of Control. I like this guy in limited quite a bit. It really mucks up your opponent's plans because it makes their instants and sorcery spells cost 1 more to cast at all times. And it's the -1 basically just nullifies one of their creatures every turn until Dovin's off the table. So that's pretty sweet. And then we got Enter the God Eternals. Enter the God Eternals, which is a nice little $2. It's a $2 rare, it looks like. So Ashiok's actually a $3 uncommon. I didn't realize. There's our army again. Still hanging out. I didn't realize Ashiok was a $3 uncommon planeswalker at the moment. But I mean, I guess it doesn't really surprise me that some of the uncommon planeswalkers are going to have a price tag on them to start with. And then they'll dip as more and more of them are opened. Because people realize, oh, they're just uncommons. That makes sense. Ral's Outburst. Grateful Apparition. Ah, there we go. So there's our Davriel, which does have the smoke over his name. Don't know why they decided to go with that. I mean, it's a cool effect, but it's interesting that it's like really like one of the only cards that sort of like interacts with its nameplate. So that's kind of interesting. I mean, Soren has a little bit, but not nearly as much. Like it doesn't sort of like impact the name itself. So Davriel, and our rare is Bolas's Citadel. There you go, little $5 rare right there. Okay, we're still sitting at no mythics. First row down, no mythics. So 12 packs in and no mythics, is that right? We've got what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, 12 packs in, no mythics. Ah, Death Sprout. I like Death Sprout a lot, but really it punishes you if you're not running basic lands in your deck. If you're not running basic lands, Death Sprout's not going to work out too well for you. Heartwarming Redemption. And we got another Samet. And our rare is a Role Reversal. This lets you exchange control of some permanents, which is kind of cool. Exchange control of 2 target permanents that share a permanent type. The cool thing about that card is that you can do it in Commander games, and you don't have to target your own permanents. You can trade other people's permanents, which makes it hilarious, in my opinion. Bond of Passion. Eternal Skylord. Rally of Wings. And our rare is a Planeswalker, and it is Vivian, who is a $3 Planeswalker right there. So this is interesting because she comes in with 4 loyalty for 3 mana, which is pretty sweet. But then your creature spells can be cast as though they had flash, which is awesome. And then you can +1, and until your next turn, up to 1 target creature gains vigilance and reach. So that's pretty sweet. Holy moly. We got a foil Ugin. This is $45 right now. There's no way this stays at that price, but holy moly, that's sweet. That is a sweet, sweet little piece of candy right there. Look at that bad boy. That is awesome. I'm super stoked about that. And a zombie army with a swamp. Still no mythics though. Still no mythics. But I mean that's just as good as a mythic in my opinion. Bond of Discipline. Gleaming Overseer. Kaya again. And Bioessence Hydra. So I got this card in one of my sealed pools on Arena, and holy moly. This card is just bonkers. So okay, it enters the battlefield with a 1/1 counter on it for each loyalty counter on planeswalkers you control. So you pay 5 mana, and chances are you're getting more than a 4/4 trample out of the deal. You're probably going to end up with something like I would say a 6/6 at minimum, more likely an 8/8, because a lot of the uncommon planeswalkers come in with like 6 or more loyalty on them. Or 5 or more loyalty. So anyway, this card comes in with a lot, and then whenever you put a loyalty counter on a thing, it gets another 1/1 as well. So like, it's pretty crazy. I don't think I see it I don't see it on here as like something of note or value, because it's very situational, and it can be removed with just like spot removal, but it can't be killed by burn most of the time because it's just too big. We don't need to look at commons. There's our Death Sprout. Again, Death Sprout again. Neoform again. This card's not bad either. I didn't talk about it last time we saw one, but it's an interesting little like card that lets you go and get something out of your deck that you might need for versatility. It's actually pretty good in limited. I like it. Devouring Hellion. Again, this is like what is that card? It basically has Devour. The keyword Devour, basically. It's like, so when it enters battlefield, you may sacrifice any number of creatures and or planeswalkers. If you do, it enters battlefield with twice that many 1/1 counters on it, which is pretty nice. So Devour 2, basically, I think is what the old terminology used to be. And we got a Nissa. Ooh, Nissa. So this is an interesting one. Whenever you tap a forest for mana, add an additional green. So the thing that's cool about this is like, I had an opponent play this against me, and I was like, oh, cool. And I had, I can't remember which one it was. There's a Planeswalker, I think, that says like, no, not a Planeswalker. Dampening Sphere? Yeah, I had Dampening Sphere. And I was like, oh, sweet, Dampening Sphere will prevent Nissa from making additional mana for them. And then I was like, oh wait, nope, it's Nissa that makes the mana, not the land. So Dampening Sphere doesn't work, or Damping Sphere doesn't work that way. And there's our foil swamp. Oh man, that looks sweet with like the lightning going across. Wow, that is rad. That's super cool. That's super neat. I like that. This would be really cool in foil too, with the Azorius kind of like thing going on above the building. All right, we're at 20 minutes already. We're not even halfway through this box. I'm sorry, everyone, but I like to chat. I like to chat about these cards. So, and it's the first time I've opened one of these boxes, so I haven't really, you know, seen some of these cards or all that kind of stuff. Kiora, again, not a bad little thing. So imagine like Kiora with that Hydra, right? Comes in with 7 loyalty, so you get 7/1/1 counters on there. And you get to draw a card because it's a 4 or more. It's pretty sweet. The Silent Submersible. I don't know how I feel about this card. I talked about this during the Arena thing event. It's a 2/3 for 2 mana that crews for 2. And it says whenever it deals combat damage to a player or planeswalker, draw a card. But it doesn't have any evasion. It has no evasion. So a 2/3 getting in on turn 3 is not likely gonna happen. So I don't know. It seems weird to me, and you can't really give it evasion because it's not a creature at all times. So unless you have like some instants and sorceries that you can cast to make it unblockable, I guess. I don't know. It just seems weird and not great. Mayhem Devil. This card is sweet in standard Aristocrats deck right now because it's whenever a player sacrifices a permanent, it deals 1 damage. So you can play like the Priest of the Forgotten Gods and they have to sack a creature and then this pings them, which is friggin' sweet. Eternal Taskmaster again. And we got a Jaya, Venerated Fire Mage. So little shocks, just some shocks to the face. So if a red source you control would deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals that much damage +1. So instead of shocks, lightning bolts as long as she's around. And then Casualties of War, which is a ridiculous card. And it gets people pretty bad in Limited. It can blow up a lot of stuff. We got our little devil token too for Tybalt. Tybalt the man, the myth, the legend. Let's see. What do we got here? Eternal Skylord. Huatley's Raptor. Flux Channeler. Another sort of kill-on-sight card because casting non-creature spells proliferates, so any planeswalker will proliferate and then also add to other planeswalkers, that kind of thing. And we got a regular copy of Ugin. Take it. It's an $8 rare by itself. Not to mention the foil copy. So this box had 2 copies of Ugin in it. Again, we are now almost halfway through this box, and we are more than halfway through this box, and we don't have a single mythic yet. That's pretty crazy. Bond of Revival, Challenger Troll, Ashiok again, good. Another little uncommon, very good. And we got Tomic, Distinguished Aristocrat, Advocist, I should say. My goodness. My words and my language and things. And it doesn't look like this has a price tag on it yet, but people have been talking about this card because, oh, we got the Nissa emblem. Nice. Lands you control are indestructible. Because it really shuts off any sort of like the graveyard land decks in Commander and, you know, Modern and that kind of stuff. Rubble Belt Rioters, Firemind Vessel, Bond of Revival, and Tameo, Collector of Tales. So $2 rare right there. And a foil, Liliana's Triumph. Nice. That's pretty cool. I never realized that Liliana's Triumph has Oketra and what, Bontu? It looks like Bontu in the background. That's pretty cool. Again. All right. Can we finish the second row without getting any mythics? That'd be pretty ridiculous. Storm the Citadel. Domri's Ambush. Nissa's Triumph. And, well, all right. So there's our first mythic. I just had to say something, right? So that's a $23 mythic right there, right now. And we got a second foil rare, and it's Casualties of War. Wow. I don't know. Casualties of War didn't have a price tag based on this, but I could see it coming into play quite a bit in Standard over the next little while, especially with the number of friggin' planeswalkers that are out there. It also allows you to blow up things that prevent your planeswalkers from activating, like the Immortal Sun and things like that. Despark, Emergence Zone, Liliana's Triumph, and Jace, Wielder of Mysteries. This was an interesting card. One of my patrons tried to get me to build a deck on stream during the early access event with this card, and I did, and it worked, kinda. It worked once. I think that it could be done better. I did see some other renditions of it that looked pretty fun and hilarious, but interesting. It's an interesting thing. We got a foil Guild Globe. Oh, look at that. We got a little 2/2 citizen creature that is all colors. Interesting. I have no idea where that comes from. Where does the citizen token come from? I haven't even seen that card, so I don't know. Mayhem Devil again, nice. Emergence Zone. Kiora again. And Blast Zone, which I think I saw on the list here. Did I not? Yeah, Blast Zone. It's an $8 rare, so it'll go in the pile here with Liliana and Ugin. And we got a Devil token with a Swamp. I mean, hitting Liliana as one of our mythics is pretty sweet. I'll take it, because Liliana is a sweet mythic. She's very good in Limited as well. Ral's Outburst, Devouring Hellion, Casmina. Yeah, Casmina. Enigmatic Mentor. I butchered that word. My brain no mouth function good things. Got there. We got another mythic. Finale of Eternity. I don't know where that's sitting, if anywhere. It doesn't look like it's sitting anywhere. Oh, there it is. $2. But still a mythic, so it goes in the mythic pile. Got our assassin token from Vraska. That's good. It's always good to make sure that you get like a little, like at least one of all the tokens too from these sets, because depending on what you want to play, you're going to need them. Merfolk Skydiver, which is a very good card in Limited as well, by the way. Heartwarming Redemption, Casamina again, and Time Wipe. This is an interesting one. So it bounces a creature you control to your hand and then destroys everything. So it's kind of an interesting one. I don't think it has a price tag on it at the moment. It does not. That's okay. I can't believe we hit a foil Ugin. That's pretty sweet. So I don't know what the average of mythics are in these boxes. I haven't seen anybody else open boxes yet, but that's because I haven't really been around to watch them. Oh, our first copy of Narset. That's nice. And Mobilized District, which I believe is not anything of super note at the moment. No. Pack open. Get out of here, garbage. Okay, Evolution Sage. Ugin's Conjurant. Hey, our first copy of Arlen as well. There you go. And Finale of Glory, which I think is actually on here. I think I saw it. Where did I see that? Yeah, here it is. $3 mythic. Create X 2/2 white soldier creatures. And then if X is 10 or more, you also create X 4/4 flying angel tokens, which is pretty crazy. So like if you get X up to 10, you get 10 2/2s and 10 4/4s. Okay. Johnny's Pridemate, Gideon's Triumph. Ah, Yang. Jiang. I don't know how you pronounce this guy's name, and I apologize. I'm butchering it terribly. I want to say Yang or Yang, something like that. Anyway, with the good little boy right there. Look at the little happy pupper. Little happy pupper. Ooh, Massacre Girl. This card is great in Limited as well. Nice little board wipe. I managed to just absolutely decimate one of my opponents one time with it, which is pretty sweet. Just wiped his board. I think he had like 6 creatures out and it just killed all of them. And I was left with a 4/4. Tybalt's Rager. God Pharaoh's Statue. Ah, our first copy of Angrath, which is also just a bonkers card for any Limited Amass deck. It's so good. 5 loyalty for 4 mana, and creatures you control have menace. And then it amasses 2, which is pretty sweet. A second copy of Karn's Bastion, which is interesting. I wasn't really expecting to see duplicated rares, to be honest. But, I mean, it's definitely a thing that can happen. Our first copy of Prison Realm, which is a very good removal spell. Flux Channeler, again. Another Davriel. And our rare, ooh, Finale of Devastation. That's a $10 mythic right there, so that's pretty sweet. We'll take it. And a foil Grim Initiate. Oh, look, we got one of Teo's walls. One of Teo's walls. All right. We got Bond of Passion. Invade the City. Ah, the first copy of The Wanderer. And Fibblethip. Fibblethip, the Lost. There he is. Just hanging out. We found him. He was lost in this box, but we found him. I mean, he's probably going to get lost again, like, momentarily, but we found him for now. Found him for now. Cruel Celebrant. Pledge of Unity. Firemind's Vessel. And a Johnny. The Great-Hearted. Nice little $2 Planeswalker right there. Nice little $2 Planeswalker right there. Swamp and Servo token. So, I mean, like, we've hit 4 mythics, right? Yeah, we've hit 4 mythics, which is pretty decent. Most of them being in the last row, which is kind of hilarious. Bond of Insight. Pledge of Unity. Obnixilis. That's our first copy of Obnixilis there. And a Dreadhorde Invasion, which is a nice little rare. So that card is pretty sweet and limited. People can beat it and play around it, absolutely. I've actually beat it a few times. You just have to make sure that you keep their zombie token in check so that they don't gain life. A Johnny's Pridemate, Bond of Flourishing, Narset, and, oh wow, 5 mythics. Royalesque. I don't know how you pronounce. $4 mythic right there. Pretty nice. And it's a 4/5 for 5 mana, which is pretty sweet. And it's a flyer with trample. And it puts 2/1/1 counters on another target creature you control when it comes in. And then when it dies, it proliferates twice, which is pretty sweet. I've had opponents like kill this on sight, but then they didn't realize that it proliferates twice, so then all of my other stuff got bigger, and my planeswalkers got loyalty, and they were like, oh, and then scooped. And I'm like, they obviously didn't read. They were like, oh, 4/5 flying trample creature. No, kill. Oh no, wait, what have I done? Arlen, Voice of the Pack, and the Parhelion Mark II, right? Parhelion 2. This card is ridiculous. This card's absolutely ridiculous. So it's a 5/5 flying first strike vigilance vehicle that crews for 4, but it costs 8 to play. I actually managed to get it out onto the battlefield in limited once in the sealed pool in Arena, and as soon as I hit the battlefield, my opponent scooped. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess they didn't have an answer to it, but I guess, you know. So I think this box was pretty good. I mean, I don't know. Again, this is only my first box, so I don't know what the average is. But I mean, 2 foil rares and 5 mythics seems pretty decent to begin with. The fact that we got 2 copies of Karn's Bastion and that's a $5 land is pretty sweet. You know, we missed some of the top end things, right? Like we missed Teferi, which is just a rare that's like $14. But we hit Ugin and we hit Blast Zone and we hit a foil Ugin, which is pretty awesome. So I mean, like, I think that we did pretty decent, to be honest. And then like we hit some pretty good variants in Planeswalkers as well. So like we got 3 copies of some of the uncommon ones and 2 copies of others and only 1 of some. But like that's okay because I think we got like 1 of Obnixilis, 1 of the Wanderer, and then I think we hit 2 of everything else. Is that right? Do we hit 2 of everything else? Oh, 1 of Angrath and 1 of Yang. And then we had at least 2 of everything else, I think. Well, 1 of Jaya. Yeah. And 1 of Dovin. And 1 of Tybalt. And 1 of Saheeli. And 1 of Nahiri. And 1 of Teo. Okay, so there are a few here that we only got 1 of. But not too bad. The fact that we got multiples of Ashiok is pretty sweet. Because Ashiok's sitting at like a $3 price tag at the moment, which is pretty crazy. Anyway, and then we got a pretty decent number of foils too, right? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We got 9 foils out of this box, which is pretty good, right? It's almost a third of the box, right? Not too shabby. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, everybody. I know it was a bit of a longer video. Normally, the first box I do of each set is a little bit longer because I like to talk about the cards, because I like to talk about my experience with them, as well as, you know, what I found that they were good with or what they weren't good with, and just, you know, sharing some stories and anecdotes of the cards themselves as I played with them. So I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much. Don't worry, the next box opening of this set will be a little bit faster, and there will still be chit chat, of course, because that's just who I am and what I do. So you're going to have to live with it or deal with it. And if you don't like it, I'm sorry, but there's nothing I can do about it. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I've been your host, MrBevers, and as always, may your pulls ever be better.